Have you ever sat in silence asking for a sign, a nudge, or a clear yes from the universe, only to be met with nothing? Maybe you felt like you were shouting into a void. You're doing the rituals, you're pulling the cards, you're trying to meditate, but the connection feels staticky, inconsistent, or worse, completely silent. So many women ask me, why can't I hear my intuition? Why does my meditation feel so foggy? Why does the universe feel so far away? Well, I want to offer you a gentle reframe today. The universe is never silent. The infinite wisdom of your inner divine is constantly broadcasting. But when our bodies are stuck in survival mode, carrying the weight of old patterns or a dysregulated nervous system, our receivers are too clouded to catch the frequency. It's not that you're not being guided, it's that your body doesn't feel safe enough to listen yet. In today's episode, we're going to dive deep into what it actually means to walk the path to your inner divine. We're going to talk about why feeling okay is only the beginning and how tools like somatic healing, EFT, and sound are actually sacred preparation for a much larger goal: spiritual connection. I'm going to show you how to stop forcing insight and start preparing your vessel. Because when the body feels safe, your soul can speak clearly. Welcome to Jyotindi, Journey to the Inner Divine, a sacred space for healing energy, emotional release, and soulful transformation. If you're ready to live with joy, ease, and purpose, you're in the right place. Before we go farther, I want to take a moment to really define what I mean when I say the inner divine, because sometimes spiritual language can feel a bit out of reach or like something that we have to go out and find. Your inner divine is not an external judge sitting on a throne. It's not something that you have to earn through perfect behavior. And it's certainly not something that you have to create from scratch or some enlightened state that you have to earn your way into. The inner divine is the infinite wisdom that lives at your center. It's your higher self, that part of you that is inextricably woven into the quantum field, the universal consciousness that some call God, some call the universe, and some simply call love. In grounded, simple terms, your inner divine is your higher self. It's the wise, observing part of you that can step back and see things clearly. It's the part of you that's connected to the universal consciousness, the infinite wisdom, that greater intelligence that moves through all things. I want you to think of it as your direct line. It's the part of you that's never been traumatized, the part of you that's never been lost, even when you felt most alone. It holds the blueprints for your highest path, your deepest truths, and your most authentic expression. Here's the most important distinction that I want to share with you today. You don't create this connection, you remember it. And you don't earn this wisdom, you access it. This is where your deepest inner knowing comes from. This is where truth feels calm instead of urgent. This is where guidance doesn't come with panic or pressure, but with a quiet sense of certainty. And that's important. The inner divine is not something that you're going to try and create. It's not something that you earn through perfect practice or spiritual discipline. And it's not something outside of you that you have to reach for. It's already inside of you. It's something that you remember how to access. The inner divine isn't loud. It doesn't compete with anxiety, and it's not going to shout over your survival mode. It speaks softly, and it speaks most clearly when your body feels safe enough to listen. And here's something that doesn't get talked about enough in spiritual spaces. This is where the barrier comes in, and I like to call it the chaos. When your body is stuck in a state of fight, flight, or freeze, your entire energetic system is focused on one thing: survival. And when you are in survival mode, your brain and your body are constantly scanning for threats. not revelations. You're looking for an exit, not an epiphany. And in that state, your energy, it's scattered and defensive. It's like trying to listen to a whisper while standing next to a jet engine. The whisper of your inner divine hasn't stopped. You just haven't had the quiet required to hear it. Spirit can't land in a body that's bracing. So if your system is on high alert, if your shoulders are tense and your jaw is tight and your breath is shallow, your body is not in a receptive state. It's in a protective one. And protection and reception are two very different modes. When your nervous system is in fight or flight, your intuition can actually feel like fear. Every thought feels urgent. Every feeling is intense. You might think that you're getting guidance, but often it's just your anxiety dressed up as intuition. When your system is in freeze or shutdown, your intuition feels so far away. You feel numb and disconnected and foggy, like you're calling out but getting nothing back. And it's not because nothing's there, but it's because your system has gone quiet in order to survive. And when your system is regulated, even just a little bit, something shifts. Your intuition starts to feel calm instead of frantic. Your clarity feels grounded instead of overwhelming. And the messages, they feel steady, not loud or urgent. And this is the part that I really want you to hear. Regulation isn't the goal. Regulation is just the doorway. You're not calming your body so that you can feel better or function better, although that is a beautiful side effect. You're calming your body so that wisdom can start to move through you, so that your intuition has somewhere to land, and so that your inner divine has a clear channel to speak through. Your body is the vessel. Your nervous system is the gatekeeper. So when it feels safe, your gate can open naturally. And the journey that we're on together isn't about fixing the divine or fixing something about yourself. It's about settling the chaos so that you can finally remember who you have truly been this whole time. If this is starting to click, there's a beautiful way to understand it through an ancient framework that many of us have already heard of and you probably are even familiar with. It's called yoga. Most people think of yoga as movement, poses and stretching, and something that you do with your body. But traditionally, yoga was never just about the physical practice. There's actually 8 limbs of yoga. The physical part was designed to prepare your body to sit and breathe and focus, and eventually to listen. And in the same way, the practices that we talk about here aren't the destination, they're the preparation. They're how we ready our bodies and nervous systems to be able to receive something deeper. And let me explain more about what I mean. When yoga was originally taught, the physical postures weren't the point, they were just a part of it. And there's 8 limbs to yoga, like I said. Together, they form a path toward inner clarity, towards presence and spiritual connection, much like what we're doing here. And what's important to understand is that meditation was never meant to happen in a dysregulated body. The earlier limbs of yoga exist to create conditions where the meditation feels natural, not forced. And I want to apologize in advance if I mispronounce any of the Sanskrit words. I'm not a yogi and I haven't studied yoga beyond the basics of what I'm sharing with you today. But the first 2 limbs are yamas and niyamas. And these are about how we relate to the world and how we relate to ourselves. Things like honesty, compassion, boundaries, self-trust, and inner discipline. In our modern healing work, this is going to look like emotional awareness and self-compassion and energetic responsibility. It's the beginning of realizing I matter. My experience matters. And without this foundation, your spiritual work can feel confusing and sometimes even unsafe. The third limb is asana, and this is the physical practice. This is the part that you're probably most familiar with and what you think of when you think of the word yoga. But its original purpose wasn't fitness. It was preparing your body to sit without pain or tension or collapse. In our work, this is mirrored through somatic practices like our gentle movements, our shaking, our breath work, and our nervous system regulation. We're helping the body release stored tension so that it no longer has to brace against the present moment. It can settle into it. The fourth limb is pranayama, and this is breath control. This is where we consciously work with the breath to influence our energy and our nervous system. And this maps directly into the breath work that I talk about, as well as EFT and sound healing. These practices help regulate your nervous system, and they move your stuck energy, and they send safety signals to your body. And when your breath can soften, your body listens. And when your body listens, it helps to quiet your mind. The fifth limb of yoga is pratyahara, which is turning inward, withdrawing your attention from external noise and stimulation. And this is a powerful and often overlooked stage. In healing terms, this is where clients stop being pulled outward by other people's emotions and expectations and chaos. This is your energy clearing and grounding practices and building up your intuition. This is the moment where someone realizes, I can come home to myself. And only after these foundations do we arrive at the final three limbs, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi, which is concentration, meditation, and deep union or spiritual connection. This is where your intuition becomes clearer, where your meditation feels spacious instead of foggy. This is where divination and insight and inner guidance start to land with calm clarity instead of anxiety. And here's the key realization. Meditation and spiritual connection were never meant to be the starting point. They were always the result of a body that feels safe enough to listen. And just like yoga prepares your body for meditation, my healing modalities prepare our nervous system for communication with our own inner divine. We're not just doing these practices to feel okay. You're doing them to remember who you are deep down, to restore your ability to receive wisdom, and to reconnect with the part of you that's always known the way. So when I talk about these healing modalities like somatic work, EFT, sound healing, and grounding practices, I want to be very clear about what I mean. They're not just random tools, and they're not just techniques to help you calm down or cope with your life, although they are very helpful for that as well. But they serve the same purpose that the early limbs of yoga did. They prepare the vessel. Somatic work and EFT help to prepare your body to understand that danger has passed. They release the stored survival responses that keep you braced and guarded and disconnected from the present moment. So when those patterns soften, your body stops scanning for threat, and it's possible to become fully present in the moment. EFT tapping helps clear your emotional interference as well. When old fear or shame or grief is running your system, your intuition is going to feel distorted and confusing. As those emotional charges release, your inner guidance becomes quieter and clearer and more trustworthy. Sound healing works on a different level altogether. It uses sound frequency to gently bring your nervous system and your energy field back into harmony. Your body begins to entrain to a rhythm of safety and coherence. And when that happens, you become receptive. It's like tuning an instrument so it can finally resonate with the music instead of fighting it. Our grounding and centering practices help anchor your energy into the body and into the earth. This is especially important as the spiritual awareness deepens, because without grounding, insight can feel overwhelming or destabilizing. Grounding helps your body feel safe here so that your spirit has somewhere to land. In this part, I really want you to hear, okay? These tools are not about fixing you. They're not about making you better or more evolved. They're about clearing the static so that your soul can be heard, so that your inner wisdom can rise without effort, so that the connection that's always been there can come back online. They're sacred preparation. They're not the destination, they're the doorway. And I want to pause here for a moment because many of you listening, this work may have started very simply. Maybe you didn't come to somatic work or EFT or grounding because you were speaking spiritual communion. Maybe you came because you were tired, you were overwhelmed or anxious, or just trying to get through the day without feeling like your nervous system was on fire. And I want to say this to you, that matters. Wanting relief is not shallow. Wanting to feel better is not weak. That first desire to regulate, to soften, to be able to just breathe again, that's wisdom too. There are seasons where our healing is about survival, about getting back to your feet, about creating enough steadiness so that you can function, so that you can rest and you can just feel okay in your body again. But something really cool happens along the way. As your body begins to feel safer and that chaos begins to quiet, a deeper question starts to emerge. Not how do I make this stop, but who am I becoming? Where am I being led? What am I meant to listen to now? This is where your healing shifts. And it stops being only about coping with life and it starts being about aligning with it. You're no longer just regulating to survive your days. You're learning how to walk in relationship with your inner divine, how to listen, how to respond, how to trust that guidance that was always there, but that was just searching for some space. And that's the transition. That's when you go from I want to feel better to I'm walking the path. There's no rushing or striving, but gently, intentionally, taking one grounded step at a time. So, as we begin to wrap things up today, I want to bring everything that we've talked about into one simple truth. Healing isn't just about feeling better, and spirituality isn't just about searching for answers somewhere outside yourself. At a certain point, those two paths merge, and you stop asking, how do I fix myself? And you start asking, how do I walk in relationship with who I truly am? And that's what walking the path really means. It means that you stop chasing insight or clarity or peace. You start creating the conditions for them to meet you. You're learning how to steady your body and soften your nervous system and clear the static so that your inner divine can speak, not in dramatic flashes, but in a quiet knowing. And you don't walk this path by becoming someone new. You walk it by remembering who you already are. The more safety that you can create in your body, the more clearly you can listen, the more grounded you become, the more connected you feel. And the more you're able to regulate your system, the easier it becomes to trust yourself and your intuition and your spiritual path. Because you're not searching for the path, you are the path. If today's episode has resonated with you, I want to offer you a few ways that you can keep walking gently at your own pace. First, I've created a free resource called the Nervous System Reset Guide. It's really simple. It's a supportive guide that can help you calm your nervous system down, get back into your body, and create that kind of safety that allows your intuition and your inner wisdom to emerge. You can use it anytime that you feel overwhelmed or disconnected, or like the noise is getting so loud that you can't hear. You can find that at mariaaurora.com/freebie/reset or click the link in the show notes. And I would also like to invite you to join my free Facebook community where we're all walking this path together. You don't have to share if you don't want to, and you don't have to be fully healed or spiritually certain. You can just be present and listen and allow yourself to feel supported as you begin to reconnect with yourself. You can find that in the show notes as well, or search Facebook for Jotindi. And finally, if something inside you is feeling called to a deeper exploration of this, I want to tell you about an upcoming experience that I've designed called The Oracle Within. This is a 5-day remembering, a sacred container where we're going to go deeper into everything that we touched on today. We'll start with step-by-step work about how to help you reconnect with your own inner divine, how to regulate your nervous system, how to strengthen your ability to listen to your own inner guidance with clarity and trust. And we're going to be diving deep into different methods of divination so that you can really receive those messages that you're seeking. And this isn't necessarily about learning something new. This is about remembering how to hear yourself, trust yourself, to connect to the wisdom that you've been searching for that's actually been inside of you all along. If that feels aligned, you can learn more and sign up at mariahaurora.com/oracle. And wherever you are on your healing journey right now, I want you to hear this as we close. You're not behind, and you're not disconnected, and you're certainly not doing anything wrong. You're learning how to feel safe enough to listen, and that is sacred work. So thank you for walking with me today. Don't forget, there is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path.